right, welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of we don't know what we calling this for real yet, soccer podcast.
We're working on that.
Still working on that as it's a holding place as of right now. But thanks for all the love, man. There's so many people actually listen to us, hit us up on this one. It was dope. I didn't know these many people really, cared. A lot of people hit us up on Twitter and was like, hey, I don't even care. It was just cool to see some brothers talk about soccer a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Got some good feedback from definitely some of the fam,
Yeah.
some folks online, man. So yeah, it's just about growing, man, and staying consistent, man.
Yeah. And man, shout out to you, man. The clip of us talking about the Super League, that one went around the world a little bit.
Okay.
People it was I don't know if it was trolls or what, it was commenting on the YouTube link, dog. Like,
Wow,
what
I
do you
didn't catch
mean
that.
anybody could just make their own team?
I didn't catch that. Fantasy of fantasy.
Yeah, Cats was mad talking about, what do you mean this ain't fantasy football?
Hey, man, funny money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm saying, I would think if you're talking about a world sport like soccer, that would be the one to probably have the most money to do it, right?
It makes the most sense. It's definitely
Yeah.
feasible. Definitely
Yeah.
feasible. You know what I mean?
And like you said before, somebody tweeted that they didn't even think about all the private games that cats be playing on the low that nobody even know about with people like Iron Sheiks and stuff.
Yeah, just never know. You know what I mean? Especially these guys, like look at a Michael Jordan type, ultimate gambler, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? You can't see MJ putting 500 grand down on a, you know what I mean? A crazy.
Would you be
fantasy.
surprised if you heard like the top 20 players went to play for some sheik in Dubai on the low, like during the off season?
I mean, yeah, I think it'd be shocking just because of the kind of money they already touching. But if there was to be a salary cap or just some incredible availability of cash, I think it's possible. Money motivates, man. I mean,
So you think it's not enough
there's
money for them right now to be able to go do that? You saying right now it's not nothing that can motivate them
almost
for like
like
the
it's
one-off.
unnecessary. I mean, the guys at that level, man, when you touching 220,000 a week, not a whole lot anybody can tell you about anything.
I mean, even if you tell you're going to be $1 million for one game, it's like,
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
All right, let's jump into these emails, man. First email comes from John Thomas. He says, this show is awesome to listen to see some brothers from around the way that seems to talk about soccer in a lot of ways that I don't even know about. My question is a two-parter. First part is, why is it that it seems like that the U.S. soccer team cannot get above the level? We have all the resources, everything in our hand, the best trainers. We don't even do steroids correctly. Something to get us over the hump.
Wow, that's a good question.
And my second question is, I just started being a Liverpool fan over the last couple of years. I know Darryl's going to have a smile, a frown at me, but question of with the Champions League, what do you all think went wrong with Liverpool losing to Atletico? I really just got into this. They've been going real well for me for a long time, but I'm just trying to see what happened with this compared to the rest of the season. Is the Premier League down, or is it just a one-off where it's saying like, hey, anything can happen in a tournament scenario?
Wow, that's good questions.
Yeah,
There,
no, that's
man.
real good ones, man. Shout out to you, John, man. I appreciate those. That's a good way to kick this off.
Right on, man. Appreciate that. You want to start on that?
I mean, me and you've had conversations about the USA soccer, so I'm on default to you on that one. So if you want to jump in.
That's a deep question, man. And I mean, definitely, like I agree, the resources there, definitely the talent. We see time and time again across the board in all kind of athletics, the kind of athletes that we can, create and cultivate in this country. So I think all the physical skill sets are there, but I think it's the systems that are missing. You know what I mean? Oftentimes, just having the raw natural talent is not enough. Having the correct resources to actually develop said talent is, what determines, the super high winners and those who are just athletic. And I think that's where we've kind of struggled, where we've been able to do it in spots. When you talk about a Landon Donovan or, Eric Ronaldo, certain Americans that have really been able to excel, but you haven't been able to do that consistently across the board in all positions. I mean, and even in the coaching staff as well. So I
I
think
mean,
those are
because they
some.
threw the Brinks truck at Klinsman, didn't they? Basically, right?
Yeah, to go get him, and I mean, did it really pay off?
No, not at all.
You know, I mean, I don't think he's that much more successful than like a Bruce Arena,
Oh no, Bruce
that
Arena is
we've
more
seen.
successful. I think he only made we didn't qualify the last one under him, and the year before that they only made a round of 32. Arenas made the round of 16 at least twice, I think, right?
Exactly.
Or was that the Brad or was that Bradley?
Bradley, I think, qualified only once, if memory serves me correctly. But I think you hit it right. I think Bruce Arena qualified twice, if
Yeah,
I'm not mistaken, and definitely didn't touch as much paper as Klinsman did for that one little short run that he had. But that just goes to show you that being outside of the U.S. and coming in doesn't necessarily just automatically make it click either. And I think that's a good example of that. But that's why I kind of defer back to the systems, man. When you take a look at how they do it in Europe and Africa, even in Asia, man, they starting them off essentially from toddlers, man, where, it's 100% focus. And they do kind of have that development, school down there in Florida somewhere, where they're really trying to kind of start that, but it's not just widespread capturing all the young talent like it should be. But I think over time it is really kind of moving forward, and I think that'll continue, as the system starts to develop.
yeah. Do you think also the idea that the our it's almost more expensive to play soccer here than it is in other countries relatively, like the club system and all that here, or is it no
Club
different?
system does get very pricey, man, but that's just upper middle America's impact on anything, man. You know what I mean? Where you can take something that's simple and beautiful, and when you infuse it with high society and high sedity sort of individuals, I mean, now you just you're making an expense. Who has the best uniforms? Who has the best?
But is it? I mean, but AU hasn't had that go that route. I mean, AU is expensive as travel. But if you balling, they gonna this. It could be a team from the north side, and they gonna play them. They gonna play.
I think they can. I think they can. But I mean, I just know a lot of the select leagues, especially like even St. Louis is a hotbed for soccer, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But those teams out there, Gallagher, those kids who play at the Bush Sports Complex, they spending big money to play on those clubs, man. I don't know if Lil Mike and Ray and them, off the north side is going to be able to compete in them same sort of leagues just, for what it costs entry fee wise per player.
So you say that it's just harder entry fee, even if you compare AAU basketball to the club soccer, that Gallagher's and Bush and all those, is even more money to get in the soccer ones than it is to go to AAU tournament.
I think it's close, but I just think that it's a bigger gap. I would say it's just a bigger gap.
And you got to get more kids too, though. You got to think how many kids. I mean, for AAU squad, you need 10. I
Yeah,
mean, you need
yeah,
15 to 20 kids for a nice club team.
and
That's
that's
all
definitely
paying $200.
exactly
For the one tournament. That ain't even for the season. That's one tournament.
right, right, and they may be just entry fee to play the games in that tournament. That's not the travel to get there. You know what I
That's
mean?
right. That's true. So I mean, I don't know if the US is ever going to be able to really get over the hump necessarily. I don't know. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, honestly, man. I mean, they can't even beat Mexico consistently. I mean, you can't win
Yeah,
you can't win the Gold Cup. That I mean, we really look. I mean, you got to think that really you're really setting yourself up. I mean, in theory, but I mean, Panama is good every now and then, and a couple other Central American squads. But in general, really, it's slotted for you. Like remember on Above the Rim, he was like Bombers, Bombers, Bombers championship. It's kind of set up for you to get there to just play Mexico every time.
man, it's kind of funny. You're absolutely right. Like when you look at CONCACAF, it shouldn't be as competitive of a region as it is. I
Yeah,
mean, Mexico's consistently dominating, but there's all kind of little small countries. Jamaica will slip you up.
yeah.
Guatemala come in and slip you up. Costa
Honduras will slip
Rica,
you up.
they'll come punch you right in the mouth. Like on a rainy Wednesday night in Orlando. They'll come right in here and punch them in the mouth. It shouldn't be that way. When you talk about like just the facilities, how well we eating compared to those people, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's. I mean, and that's one of them, man. If that, I think that one would. I know, real talk. If the U.S. ever made a Final Four or finals of a World Club, this country would go ridiculous.
all the support I think would definitely be there, and the investment. I mean, you just seen how these World Cups have grown, even the women's World Cups, like
Yeah.
the kind of support, the television, the attention, the money, the investment is there. So the infrastructure is there. I don't, I don't want to say it'll never happen, but I think it's slowly but surely heading in the right direction.
I mean, we got a lot more players playing in the Premier League at a high level now instead of just kind of being there.
Consistently.
Because you got Yeldon over
Exactly.
there. Well, because no, Yeldon's not in the Premier League, is he?
No, yeah, he is. He's on Newcastle.
Right. And then
Newcastle.
and then Pulisic is on Chelsea. And that's it for the Premier League, right? For
Chelsea.
US players, right?
See what's behind me.
You said what now?
No, that's in the Premier League itself. I mean, I want to say this.
And you got the one
I think
brother on Shocker too, right?
Yeah. Oh, he's a stud too.
Yeah, because he like 17 or something, ain't he? Like
Yeah.
he ain't no joke,
too, man. Like the real speed. And I know there's a couple of other brothers that's in the Bundesliga. Some names are escaping me, but they playing in some of those mid to low table teams. But they over there playing.
Yeah. So the second part of this question, man, what do you think has happened with Liverpool in the Champions League?
Man, Liverpool was on such a roll, man. My opinion is that team is super talented. Obviously, I mean, the proof's in the pudding, but I think that they're not as deep, and I think that's what it was, just a lack of depth. Not really being able to bring in the real required, playmakers, not just a guy that can get the job done, but I mean a quality playmaker that's going to influence a game. I think that's the kind of depth that they miss, and that's why you see that sort of lackluster performance kind of flame out in the tournament like that.
You think that they overexerted themselves in the EPL too, though? Like the English Premier League?
Yeah, I think the EPL was the number one target. When it comes to which trophies do you want to lift, and I think honestly, just considering how long it's been for them, that's the appropriate goal. And I think that you dominate and you win your country's league, and then I think it's time for you to take the next step to start to try to
And they
get a
won
berth in the
last year too,
Champions
so
League.
they kind of was like, maybe.
The investment, man, the investment in the depth. That's how you have Real Madrid dominating as much as they have, because
Dude,
they
because
have
you look
so
at
many
their roster
quality.
though, man. You look at Real Madrid's roster, dog. They got like 4 or 5 strikers like posted, like that are dogs. Like,
That'll come in right now and do a
dude,
job.
Bale
You
was
know
on the
what I mean?
bench yesterday, dog, and I was like, wow. Like, and then I looked at who was starting. I was like, damn, I ain't mad. Like, what
And
you
then they
supposed to
got
do?
then they got those youngsters with the super off the charts talent that's just waiting,
Yeah.
for somebody to get injured or retired, and it's like boom, they, lock and reload.
So I mean, actually piggybacking kind of off with for Liverpool with the UEFA. Do you think that like do you think that some country like for instance somebody in the Bundesliga they'll want the Champions League trophy over even more their own country's trophy? Like, but for English Premier League, it may be that's a higher thing than maybe the Champions League for certain leagues.
For certain teams in certain leagues, I say absolutely. I mean, every team has different objectives, and those can be influenced. How recently have you won? Your country's league. Maybe you're a perennial winner, and that's something. At Bayern Munich, they win the Bundesliga all the time, so that wouldn't be a high level objective. That's almost like, of course we're going to do that. But then the Champion League becomes the bar for them. But I don't think Liverpool's in that kind of situation where they're perennially winning the Premier League, and so now the Champions League is an ultimate goal. I think for Liverpool, winning the Premier League is objective one.
Yeah, because they haven't won with
I
20
mean,
years
that's
or
the
something
critical
crazy.
focus. 20 plus, I want to say.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have a rich, storied history in the past of winning the Premier League. So it's like we got to give our fans a taste of that again first. Then we go lift the Champions League.
Dang. Okay. All right. Next up, questions. This one comes from Tiago. Man, shout out to Tiago. That's only left a first name, only first name. So Tiago says, I know the biggest debate of all time is Ronaldo versus Messi. Who do you all think is my first question? My second question is, what do you all think that the Champions League can do to take it to another level where it could be even more global? I know Brandon said in the last episode, making it more of a super league, but do you think they would want to incorporate other leagues? I know the FIFA has their World Cup of leagues, but does that really make sense? And do people even really care? Is there a way to really make this more of a global championship situation?
Tiago, some good questions, man.
Yeah, man, we got some good questions, man. Because people have been starting for some good talking about soccer, man. So that's like they had these in their back of their head for a while or something.
That's what we absolutely here for.
Yeah.
I want to start with the Messi Ronaldo.
Yeah, let's go with it.
Man, like I was kind of telling you in pre-production, I think that's the story debate, that's been going on for many, many years. I mean, let's cut to the chase. Obviously, two of the best players in this current era. Both are spectacular. So many skills, make others better. So many goals, highlights. We can all absolutely agree on that. I think it's important not to lose context of the bigger picture. And, although we don't have all the technology to go back and see all of the Pelés, a lot of the older players, we can't lose sight of what they've done in this game, the trophies that they lifted. I think that's very important. But to answer that question specifically, man, I think it's a toss-up. I hate to, be a
And it
fence
depends on
rider.
what you like, really, right?
It depends on what the team needs. I think they both provide what their teams need and require, and it's hard to put value on which one is more important or which one is more valuable.
I look at Messi more as like the dude that's gonna be able to take you to the cup. Like if you use a basketball analogy, like he's gonna be able to take you off the dribble, do whatever to take you off the cup. I feel like Ronaldo's more like I'm finna bust these threes on you. Like I'm finna drop threes all day. It just depends on what you like in a player, almost. I mean, is that a good comparison? Or
while you were talking, I hate to be thinking while you're talking and not listening, but you said things that triggered a thought in my head. I look at it kind of like Rocky Balboa and the Russian,
oh
where
wow, okay.
Messi's Rocky Balboa, right? He got it out the mud, just taking every ounce of what he has and really performing. Where Ronaldo's more like the Russian, he's chiseled, built in as like a machine to do exactly, what he does on the pitch. And so they're both incredible at what they do and performing at a high level. So again, I'm straddling the fence.
I mean, and really, this is what I guess this debate's probably gonna come up even more in the next couple of years because both of them are ending their careers in probably the next 2 to 3 years. I'm thinking, right?
Yeah, they're definitely both coming down the home stretch.
Because they're both they got to be both mid-30s, right?
Yeah, early mid-30s.
So they probably both of them got one more World Cup in them. You think that's it?
Oh yeah, it's hard to see them go beyond that. Yeah, especially with the kind of conveyor belt of talent that Argentina has specifically.
Yeah. I mean, you got. They got talent. I mean,
they got line and line and line. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe Ronaldo could stick around. I mean, Portugal's got some people, but it is not as much as they used to. It feels like, but I definitely Messi gonna have to put up the boots because this boy's sitting back there waiting in Argentina.
Yeah, I mean that's really almost the last thing for him to go win. I mean, pretty much won everything else.
Both Ronaldo too, though. Ronaldo needs a World Cup too.
That's absolutely true as well. Absolutely.
That'd be a hell of a final, though, wouldn't it?
Man, yeah, no, it definitely would be.
That would, I mean, that's almost like them setting up, where they, they wanted, what final was it they wanted some years when it was going to be the Vikings versus Denver, where it was like, yo, if we can get Randall Cunningham and Randy Moss versus John Elway, we're going to get paid.
Exactly. Yeah, I think, man, that would be interesting to see a World Cup final. Yeah.
But the second part, what do you think? The World Championships, the Club World Championships. I know they have it, but he was saying, is there a way they can amp it up a little bit? FIFA can.
That's a good question. I mean, I guess there's some way it's got to be able to be done, but man, shit, if I could answer that question, I think I'd be on the FIFA,
Working at
PR
FIFA.
marketing, team, cashing a large check if I had to answer to that.
You'd have to have
They
another
really have
check though to
tried,
get on the staff though. Get on that FIFA staff. You have to get a check in general. Have a
man.
check already.
I mean, I'm gonna need a staff as well. You know what I'm saying? But but man, it's hard, man. It's hard because I think so much tradition, and that's another thing, in the football world. There's so many tournaments. I mean, just look at England. The FA Cup, the Cabero Cup. You know what I mean?
Then if you
You
play
got
along, you got
just
the Community Shield Cup if you want 1 and 2 and
I mean, it just goes on and on. Like, where does it end? And I mean, almost every country has these tournaments within these leagues as well. So it just really becomes just another tournament.
so do you think some of these countries need to like if FIFA said, hey, everybody gonna have one tournament in their country, we finna focus in on this world championship thing, or what do they do to get people to more buy into it? Because I feel England, like a lot of these places have like 4 or 5 cups, and you're like, why y'all got so
Yeah.
many tournament games? And they're not
Well, a
even putting
lot
your
of
best, and you're not even putting your best players out there for some of these.
Yeah, because again, you only have so much depth. You can't afford injury. The club has objectives, like I was saying. Like that back to that Liverpool example, where your objective is this is the trophy that we want to win. So yeah, we got 4 other different tournaments going on. We can only really play to win one of them. Maybe 2. And so I think that's why you start to devalue some of the tournaments. And to answer your question, I think it's hard to get rid of some of these older tournaments because of the historical, the history behind it. When you
Mm.
have a tournament they've been playing for 120 years, it's hard just to say, we're gonna scrap. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and do you think the players really even care about the FA Cup or the Caribou Cup or whatever?
The certain guys, it's just like anything else, man. Certain guys really play for the patches, on the front of the, they really care about the club, and I think those guys care about the tournaments because certain tournaments are important to those fan bases. You know what I mean? So then I think they
Mm.
really buy in. But then you got other players where it's like it's just a job.
Is
I'm an
is this the
athlete. I'm
Champions
here
League?
for the
Holla
money.
at me, like.
Exactly. It's not the Champions League. And I mean, you even hear the transfer targets will say, "Well, I'm not going to sign with this team because they're not qualified for the Champions League tournament. That's a tournament that I want to be a part of." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that. Then this we shout out to my boy Double D, man. He had one question for us from off my college text chain. He wanted us. He asked us. I'm reading now because I just told him we were starting. He said, "Is Tottenham's championship league run last year the most craziest thing ever seen in sports almost for a run?"
Well, it was a hell of a run.
Dude, I mean, and if you go look back at those games, those were like last second shots they was hitting,
A
dog.
lot of them.
Like for real, and they almost didn't even qualify for the round of 16.
Yeah, I think they really performed well, man, and clutch. You know what I mean? Kind of like the
And
soccer
what and
guys
he
really.
said right now, and all without Harry Kane.
Yeah, oh, exactly. No, that's definitely the excellent point, man.
But it's like they can't.
Nobody really. I
I
think.
mean, he's comparing it to the he said to Butler in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a good comparison. Exactly. And
Like,
execute.
yeah, I
You know what
mean,
I mean?
they're
Execute
hitting
to
three
get to the
pointers at the
next round.
buzzer on cats. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because they knocked off Man City,
Yeah.
Madrid, and this is all back to back in the last 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
And then
yeah,
they
shout
turn
out to Double D.
around and fire the coach.
You said their coach. You like their coach? You said.
I said then they turned around and fired the coach. That's when they
Yeah,
fired
that was
the
crazy, right?
Pochettino, the
Yeah, but is it
Argentine.
because
They
is
say
it back to the
he did
Champions
all
League
of
thing?
that. Man, exactly.
I'm gonna say, is it back to the
Yeah.
English Premier League thing where it's like you ain't even performing the Premier League though, dog.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely. Tottenham's in a spot where Premier League performance is what they got to do. You know what I mean? It's what they got to do.
All right, man. Let's jump.
especially being in London. Like if you're not winning that
Yeah,
trophy and you in London, I mean,
yeah,
that's no
because
go.
London has Tottenham, Chelsea,
Yep. Um,
Arsenal, and is West Ham there too? West Ham, right?
exactly. West
So those are the
Ham. Yep.
four, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and this, I mean, this let me go hard. I mean, yeah, that's a hard one to run with, man. If you ain't
Yeah.
winning,
Yeah. Exactly. You don't want to be the LA Clippers. You know what I mean? Of the past, not the current, but back in
right?
the
The
day.
old school, but I mean, that's basically what Spurs were before, basically, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they would always pop up with one stud, and they had like Teddy Sheringham, coming out there, really scoring goals, man. I mean, they had some players, and they would put in a shift and always be in the mix, but they weren't lifting the trophy.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's jump into some of these topics, man. Let's talk about. Let's
Yeah.
give props to your team, man.
Hey, you see what's behind me, man? You see what's on the wall, man? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, your boys got him. I mean, that's a big pickup, man. That's a big pickup with Werner. If anybody doesn't know, Werner from RB Leipzig is not going to be on Chelsea.
Yeah, man. I think he's like exactly what we require, man. Proven goal scorer, good combination, speed, strength, height. I think he delivers for us, man. And I don't think the Premier League lights will be too big for him. I think it's just a matter of him settling and putting the ball in the back of the net. And I think he has everything around him to do just that.
Do you
So I'm
think?
very
What do you think
pleased.
this does for Pulisic, though, man?
I think it's good for him. I think it's good for him. I mean, two different positions, two different roles, but if he can gain some kind of synergy, right away and build some rapport, man, and they're firing together, man, playing off one another. I think that's awesome. Yep, exactly what we need.
Yeah, that's a big pickup, man. Chelsea, y'all was saving them chips on the back end because y'all done had them
Got
transfers.
next.
So kicking off, the Premier League's coming back.
Yeah, yeah.
Soccer and
Hey, man.
what's up?
Yeah, back the 17th, man. So
Yeah, man, we kick. I mean, this.
super exciting.
Yeah, y'all listening, y'all get this the day before, so we, that it's so. I mean, basically, what we got: uh, Man City, Arsenal, and then Aston Villa, and I think Sheffield, maybe somebody like that,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
kick us back off. I mean, Man City basically they lose. Basically, Liverpool damn near even they already had it locked up for the last like 7 months. It feel like, but it'll be almost damn near official
Yeah,
if they lose to
yeah,
Arsenal.
yeah. Yeah, most definitely, man. Liverpool's on a march, man. I don't think there's any doubt that they're going to get exactly where they're going. It's just a matter of time now. But just excited, man, to see the ball, rolling around again, man, and seeing these teams get after it. It's exciting, man. I miss Saturdays, and like we were talking in pre-production, man, that schedule is going to give us basically football. Almost every single night, man. I mean, the
Yeah,
schedule is upcoming.
dude,
Incredible.
it's gonna be crazy,
Never
man.
seen anything like that before.
Yeah, I mean, and so this is something we talk about pre-production. Do you think the 5 subs is gonna be enough with this schedule?
Interesting, man. Interesting. It's interesting because soccer is a game where they are willing to tweak the game, change the laws of the game, the rules of the games. Where you see in like baseball, they fight it, where they live by the tradition. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the 5 subs, man, considering people coming back, from post Corona, out of sync, not as much time in training, probably physical levels not going to be exactly where they should be. I think it makes sense, help avoid injury. And I think it's also smart if you're going to do the 5 subs, forcing them to do it in only 3 different substitution patterns overall. I think that's smart as well. So you don't extend the game. You don't let people use the 5 subs as a
Stalling tactic.
gamesmanship to end games. It's stalling tactics exactly. So I think that makes sense. What you
Yeah.
think?
So do you think that this will be going forward? You think they'll keep this going forward, or you think this is going just this moment for the 5 subs?
Tough to say, man. Tough to say. I mean, I want to see how it works, and then maybe that's something they kick around for an official change moving forward or not. I mean, because what coronavirus ain't going anywhere anytime soon, so maybe this is the new norm, right?
Yeah, I mean, and if anything, this is not good for smaller clubs, right? Because now I can go ahead and ball out and get more people and play 5 more cats. So it
Absolutely,
can't be good
absolutely.
for smaller clubs, right? This five sub.
Well, most rule changes aren't good for small clubs, so nothing really new there.
Yeah, no,
Nothing
you're
new
right.
there.
You're
I
right.
mean, yeah. Yeah.
Because if you think about it because you think about it before, you would like I know we've ManU's been talking about putting Chung on loan. If we got 5 subs now, there's no point in sending Chung on loan now.
Yeah, you might be able to really utilize him. You know what I mean? And so that'll be interesting to see how that impacts the loan system and like overall player development. I mean, do you want to have that guy sitting on the bench, maybe getting in the last 15 minutes of the game, or him going to some smaller team and getting 90 minutes?
This offhand, how many like European players really go on loan to MLS? Or like, is it a high percentage, lower or average or?
You don't see it as much, one because of the timing of the seasons. I mean, if you got the ability to play in Europe, that's really where you want to play at. You know what I mean? Just like in the NBA, if you got the ability to play in the NBA, that's where you want to play. You
Right.
don't want to go play in the Ukrainian league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of thing. You want to be at least in the feeder clubs to the European clubs, and so that's why you see the kind of loans that you see historically.
All right. So what do you think about, man? We talk about George Floyd since we had our last show. Everything happened with George Floyd. Man,
Yeah.
it shook up everything everywhere. I mean, our soccer podcast may be on NBC in a minute because they need diversity in a minute. Um,
They definitely do, man. Definitely do, man.
this the time to strike, black folks. This is time to strike.
Yeah, exactly,
The Empire
exactly.
Strikes Back, baby.
It's time for them to adapt and incorporate. You know what
And
I
but it's a
mean?
long time coming with, man. That's
Definitely.
beyond a long time coming for them to be putting on to be more diverse in these different situations. Period. So this ain't, some people that may feel some type of way about it. Let's not get it twisted. This is a long time coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Without
So yeah, we was talking about it before,
question.
man.
I mean, there's no doubt about that.
All the football players, man, over here are standing up more than is. I won't say more than U.S. athletes, but it seems like the leagues are embracing more of the protest and the players speaking out for themselves in Europe, particularly.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with that, and I've just been absolutely shocked by that, man. The fact that they understand what's going on. It seems like with more clarity and with more focused, appropriate reactions, than what we see from folks US is just an incredible parallel, to see when you think about a Colin Kaepernick and that situation, and the response of the conservative, delegation,
Yeah.
and Trump specifically. It's just absolutely amazing, man. But I'm very happy with what I'm seeing from the Premier League, UEFA, the FA, FIFA overall. I mean, just even them allowing the players to kneel, and the players, taking that power of saying we will, show solidarity and show certain respect, and acknowledgement of what's going on from a, uh, police brutality and justice system, man. I think it's absolutely to be applauded.
Yeah, man. Shout out to them, man. I mean, really, this is kind of kicked off the Bundesliga, man. The Germans, man, they actually did something good for the world, man. At one point, man, and got all these sports kicked back off, right? Really, um, and paved the way because I know the U.S. is looking like, man, we can't be letting these checks. They said that the Bundesliga ratings were like 12 times more than is normal watching on a Saturday morning and Sunday morning. 12 times the ratings.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
So they looking at them
And I
dollars
mean,
like, man,
it's part of right, missing out, and that's to be expected, I suppose, when you're the only game in town. You know,
Yeah.
you get more eyeballs on you. But yeah, I'm happy that they pioneered it and took those chances, man. Kind of showing it can be done.
Yeah, I mean, we had the Spanish league came back, Italian league came back this week. They came back full force, and all their they're splendid. Premier League's the last one. I guess I don't know if La Liga's ever coming back. I mean, now they looking like they canceled their league, and then they was like, "Oh, hold on, man, you sure about that? Because we might have messed
Yeah.
up on this."
Double check that. I'm not sure. I'm not certain.
I don't. Is La Liga's talking about they may come back? They want to come back now. Like we messed up.
It seems like they just flip flopping and they don't really know what.
No, not La Ligue, not La Liga, La Ligue. I'm sorry. The
okay.
French one.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, not La
Yeah.
Liga. I'm talking about.
And I think that's more on the financial side with the French.
Oh, really?
The financial side. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because it's a major drop off with the kind of money they playing with. England and Spain, and then what's going on in France, and
So you talking about like money wise? Are they fourth tier? If you're talking about English Premier League, Spanish League, Italian League, are they next? Or is Bundes next, and then them financially?
The German, the Bundesliga, and Italy are both a step above the French league when it comes to the kind of compensation the players.
So they're fifth tier then, basically.
Yeah. I would probably put the Italians and the Germans in the same kind of pecking order when it comes to financially, but definitely the French league is beneath that. I mean, a lot of that's because you see a lot of the African imports. They can play those guys crumbs. North Africans.
Oh, really? So hold on. So is that what the French league is doing?
Oh yeah, that's why they're very, very dominated by Eastern African, Northern African players, and those players come there to try to get that shot of getting into Europe and being seen to be able to feed off to one of these bigger clubs. And so that's kind of the way of uncovering talent. So that's been in place for many, many years. And so financially, you pay those guys crumbs, and those guys accept it because they're going to get the light put on them, hopefully, if they perform well, and that's going to lead to the big payday.
So is us seeing it, and this something I mean because I never really even kept up the French league until Mbappe and Neymar got together at PSG, and is that a phenomenon with PSG because PSG is becoming more like, I guess, pop culture known?
PSG is France's equivalent to Manchester City.
Okay, but so they don't spend that dough basically.
Yeah, they got the stupid, multi-billionaire owners, and they can just outspend everybody. Yeah.
But I'm talking about like popularity wise, like worldwide. Like, does it seem like PSG's got more popular, like in pop culture?
Absolutely. I think they have definitely gotten more popular, but because of them consistently being a perennial winner. So yeah,
and a lot of NBA players have been embracing them too. Like
yeah, and you got Jordan Brand
yeah.
collaborating with them, sponsoring them. Yeah, absolutely, that's helped as well.
Yeah, they said La Liga's. They said they talking about maybe coming. They talking about changing up. They said that the Guardian's reporting that they feel left out now. And they're expanding. Oh, they're talking about possibly expanding to 22 teams next season and not relegate anybody because UEFA said that you can't deregulate anybody if you don't finish your season.
And that makes sense.
So it's like if you're not gonna play, you tell nobody not to come back if they don't get a chance to fight for it.
Yeah.
And you can't tell those teams in League Two that they don't deserve to move up either.
Exactly. That's why this is, so profound. It's like so many different scenarios that we've never seen before, and the different impacts, in these clubs. A big difference in the kind of money you touching as well to run an organization, business.
Yeah. My boy Double Diz, he's getting all kind of love here, man. He said, "Do you think that this transfer window is like the NBA free agency?"
Oh, absolutely.
Because that doesn't feel like cats got time to really be like, man, who do we kind of want?
Yeah, no, the transfer window is great, man. And especially just like coming down the home stretch on deadline day. I mean, like, I know me, man. I got it up running all day long, and they cut into this reporter and that reporter as they get in bits of information of who's signing and who driving in for a physical, and they got the paparazzi all in the car. Yeah, he's at the training facility. He's at the dock right now.
He's at the dock.
They're checking out the ankle, doing a couple more scans.
What is the one when they do the flight tracker?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They got the scouts at the airport. Yeah, we just saw him land at Heathrow. So yeah, that's always exciting, man. I think it might be even more flavorful than the NBA.
No, he was saying this. He was saying this particular transfer window. He's saying this particular window.
Yeah, definitely.
Like he's saying like this because of quarantine. He's explaining this up now. I'm gonna read this. He says, because of quarantine, do you all think that the transfer window is even crazier right now?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I would agree with that too, wholeheartedly. Just because we've had so much more time to even dive in, on another level.
And I mean, think about coaches probably had a chance to look at somebody in the Turkish league or something random. They're like, okay, maybe we could pick him up for the low.
Definitely.
So next up, man, the salary cap, man. You've been talking about this on the last show, man. They're talking about maybe creating one. What do you think this would look like, and what do you think impact this will have if this, or do you think people gonna be like, hell no? Kind of like baseball, but baseball is in trouble now, right now.
Man. You're seeing it in a lot of different sports where you thought you would never see it really be seriously discussed, but I think it has to happen, man. These clubs are businesses, man, and everybody wants to be able to turn a profit. And the only way you can really do that is by controlling cost. I mean, that's just simple business, principles. Unless you got some sort of unlimited access to capital, which a lot of these smaller clubs simply don't have. It's hard to envision how they would roll something like that out, but it's almost unfathomable that it wouldn't be required. So I guess that's my way to dance around it. I do think that it's in the future, and I think that Corona could tip the scale to make it happen sooner than later. What you think?
Really? So you think so? Because you're saying because teams were like, man, I ain't got bread to be paying my players, and then you're gonna basically set up a have and a have not system in the league, then, right? You're saying almost.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're gonna exasperate the have and have not system that's already in place, where certain clubs are going to just have to fold, because how long can you run a business and not turn a profit? I mean, at a certain point, you throw your hands up and you say, I can't flush no more money down the drain. And I think that's the reality of these League One and League Two teams, and especially a lot of these clubs, under the old system where the fans owned the club. With these incredible unemployment rates that you see, I don't even think that the average fan can support a club like they have in the past. And a lot of these clubs are owned by the fans.
And then these, I mean, I guess, but then you got the oil barons coming in, and like, well, I got money to burn, whatever. But then you set it up where they like, well, I'm just gonna buy everybody out, and you only got two teams that are good in your league now.
Yeah, and then that's where you lose your watchership of the league, because it's not a whole lot of fun just to watch two teams run away with it.
So do you think this is closer than we think?
It's hard to say, man. It's really hard to say. I think in the football world, the agents will have a lot to say on how quickly something like this happens. I think the agents are the most powerful, where when you look at like Major League Baseball, the players union is more powerful than the agents. And I think in soccer, the agents are more powerful than the players.
And is there what reason is that for that kind of happens?
I just don't think that the unions have been around as long and have as much strength. I mean, just even look at how they talk about it in soccer. Like, I'm gonna sell your rights.
Right. That's real. Yeah.
Like they talk about the player as if it's a piece of property, and that's how they trade pieces of property. Where in baseball, the players are unionized in their strength and what they will do overall, and you just don't see them working with that same kind of accord in soccer. It's never been it's never been leveraged that way. It's always been powerful agents, working the best deal for said player.
Mm. So yeah, man, this is gonna be interesting. If this jumps off like this, like it could be, man, like this could. I mean, I guess this will help the smaller teams, of course. That'd be interesting to see what leagues would.
And I think these big clubs would be happy to kind of rein in some of this money and say, well, hey, at least we know we won't spend over this. Like right
Right,
now,
we can know how much it's unlimited at this point. Like
right now, this could just go forever.
This is a blank check. They got a blank check.
It literally is continuously blank checks without turning a profit.
I mean, I guess they have them internally, but in theory, somebody can be like, "No, man, you need to go like ManU trying to get Jadon Sancho. They talking about $100 million for him. Like, y'all got it."
At the same time, I guess the flip side of the coin is like it's great to be a part of a club that has the resources to say whatever it takes.
Yeah,
you can make it happen.
You talking about the what is the Jerry Jones method?
Okay, exactly. Exactly.
Next up, man, my boy Pogba's coming back, maybe playing with Bruno Fernandez, man. I think this is gonna be interesting, man.
I think that's going to be interesting as well. Fernandez, while Pogba was injured, he came on the scene and he did the business, straight away, man. And that's not easy to do when you come from one league to another, new club, new surroundings, but absolutely doing the business. So I like it.
But do you think that teams are going to start being able to pick him out though now, since he's been there so long? Like, where it's kind of like you the new dude, and it's like we all know your style.
Yeah. And I think people know how dangerous he is. I mean, he came with a hell of a reputation. But I think it's good for both him and Pogba, man. Maybe them playing off one another. They're both creative types.
And Pogba ain't got to carry the whole midfield like he's had to either. So it's not. It's like it's kind of like when Paul Pierce got Ray Allen and KG, he didn't have to carry everything.
Yeah, exactly. Lessen the load, man, and hopefully lessen some of the stress, man, because they work your boy Pogba over pretty hard, man.
Yeah, I mean that's what he's trying to get out of there, man. Because they was like, man, he's like, but I mean now, especially if we get Jadon Sancho, man, and he'll be straight, and the midfield will be rock solid. I mean, I'm just saying now. We beat Spurs on Friday. We going straight undefeated the rest of the year. I look at the schedule.
Oh well, I mean, didn't they come out and say that Sancho will not move in the summer now? So it's going to be a whole another year before you move.
Well, they said that he can initiate something like Werner did, right?
I thought that he came out and said he's not going to move for at least not this coming summer, the following summer.
Oh wow! So a whole calendar year, basically.
Exactly. So that puts your boys back. Talk about the process.
Look, it's all good. Look, we still gonna pass y'all for fourth this year, guaranteed. Have you looked at our schedule the rest of the way after Spurs?
you guys are so up and down, man.
That's true. But we've been the hottest team in Europe, man. We've not lost a game in 12 games.
I think you guys could catch fire. I think it's definitely possible. You got a lot of skills there, but I mean, you guys, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if you guys, took 4 L's in a row. I mean,
I lost beat Spurs, then lose to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, something like that. I can see that.
No, you're right.
Take your lumps.
MLS is coming back with the Orlando tournament, man. What do you think about this? MLS coming to Orlando.
It's interesting, man. It basically sounds like what the NBA is trying to do.
Yeah,
right?
Isn't that not good to have all those teams in one city? Or why Orlando with all these teams?
Well, I know Orlando definitely has like the complexes to
Is that what it is?
Soccer pitches. Oh yeah, definitely plenty of pitches in the complex because that's actually where that talking about the USA developing young players. That's where that facility is down there.
Okay.
That same facility. So I mean that's a prime, top-notch, creme de la creme sort of facility. So it only makes sense. But I'm just looking at it, man, like my barber out here, man. This may be a little bit too much for the pod, man, but he cuts Devin Booker's dad's hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Devin Booker on the Phoenix Suns, and he's messing with one of the Jenner daughters, and so they supposed to be going up to do the NBA thing in the NBA bubble, and they're like, how do you keep out all of the women that these guys are all dealing with the same Instagram chicks? How is
Mm-hmm.
that going to impact coronavirus at these facilities, man? And so that's kind of what I was thinking about the MLS, because it's kind of a similar, small world, man, where, these young guys all live on social media, man. And that could be a major impact, man. Seriously.
I guess a soccer groupie is different than a basketball groupie, right? Or would they be going between both facilities?
Man, I think you give too much credibility. I mean, I think a groupie is a groupie, man. You know what I'm saying?
Back in the day, though, it used to be a type
I
of
don't
groupie,
see
though. But back in the day, it used to be a type of groupie, though. Remember when we were kids, like it was like, oh, she goes to all the basketball games. She's a basketball groupie. Now, I guess because of the internet, you can expand your groupiness.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, do groupies know soccer players like that? U.S. wise, not necessarily. I mean, I guess you just Google
Yeah,
somebody's
they
name, you
do,
can
man.
figure
I
it out,
mean,
right?
Lori Harvey was messing with former Manchester United winger when he didn't do the business. He's from the Netherlands, and then they kicked him to France.
Come on, Memphis
What's your
Depay.
boy's name?
Memphis Depay.
Depay. Yeah, Memphis Depay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Lori Harvey knew who he was. You see?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That just proves my point. Yeah, the
But I can
groupies
see Memphis
know
Depay being at the
who
club
is
though.
who.
Like, I'm a Memphis Depay. Go on Google me.
Hey, whatever works, man.
Right. I ain't mad at you.
Execute
Look, I ain't mad at the hustle now. Because you got to tell them to Google you for that because they
That's
don't
what's
know necessarily.
required. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's in the French league now, right? Is he on? Oh, he's on Lyon, right?
I think he's on Marseille. If I'm not
Marseille. Okay.
mistaken.
Yeah, I know he was on ManU for a while.
Yeah.
You got, but I mean, I guess, yeah. If he was a Lloyd Harvey, Lloyd Harvey getting kind of ran through at this point, right?
Yeah. But I think he was early. He was one of the most early. So.
Yeah, no, he was early because what's crazy, she's only like 21 or 22, right?
About right, yeah. Something about right.
Dang, they got it on here too. On his Wikipedia, they got it. God damn.
Oh, you keeping it?
Hey, the Wikipedia is rough, dog.
Maybe on it, man.
Hey, man, the Wikipedia is rough. They got a whole paragraph.
Oh wow!
The Wikipedia, hey man, Wikipedia is a trip, man. Wow, I guess he was engaged to her. Well, Wikipedia is claiming that.
Man, he tricked off some bread. He did.
You already know. You already know, man. But that wasn't nothing for him, probably. Shit.
He was spending that Manchester United money, man. Y'all don't want to give him the big money. Y'all were financing Lori Harvey.
Yeah, I know, right? Dang.
Wow.
So, man, wrapping up, man. So, what do you think? I guess what we got looking forward to this week? Chelsea play this week, this Friday. Or they play Friday or Saturday?
We play Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
And then y'all probably turn back around and play Wednesday too.
Yeah. Right? Oh yeah, it's gonna be a quick turnaround. We have Aston Villa.
They're fighting for their last spot.
That's one of your targets, Jack Grealish.
Grealish, yeah,
the captain.
Yeah, people are saying that about Grealish, man. I mean, I'm at this point, Sancho a bust at this point, man. We just need to go and ride this train out.
Definitely would take Sancho easily over Grealish. Easily, no hesitation.
Yeah. So y'all got Aston Villa on Sunday. Oh, y'all got I'm looking at y'all schedule now. Y'all got Man City right on Thursday, next Thursday.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
Leicester City. Oh, y'all, hey, y'all got two back-to-back ones. Ain't gonna be no joke.
Yeah, it's a tough road ahead, man. But I think we come in, find our feet in that Aston Villa game, and then it's time to go to work. Early July, we got West Ham United in early July. So it's like you said, survive those two tough games, and yeah, I think we're
Then
we're
y'all just
right
got
where we
Liverpool
need
and
to be,
Wolves
man,
left,
and keep
really,
you guys. Yep,
to
keep you
end the
guys
year.
right out of that fourth spot.
That's why I don't know, man. It's gonna be a rough one. It's gonna be a race to the end.
Should be fun to watch, man.
It's gonna
Should
be real
definitely be
fun,
fun to
man.
watch.
It's gonna be real fun, man. Where can everybody hit you up at, bro?
Yeah, man, on Twitter, Phoenix Piff, always excellent Piff. Catch me on Twitter, and I might create a new one and get that for the pod. But yeah, for the meantime, between time, feel free to catch me there, man.
All right. You could hit us up on straightolc at gmail.com with all your questions, thoughts, all that good stuff. Thanks for all the questions, everybody. Shout out to Double D and everybody that tweeted us and hit us up, man.
Yeah,
Asked us
thank you
questions.
guys. Keep the feedback coming.
Yeah, because we didn't have that much to talk about tonight, and y'all helped us out with these questions.
Yeah, for sure.
So it helps out the show, and we'll keep y'all locked in. We'll be back soon, and man, Viva La Soccer's back, baby.
Hey, man, have a good one, man. Be
All right.
blessed.